Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to Kiwoon Learning, and this is a video about the basics of investing. So what investing actually means. Investing usually means that you can refer to really any type of mechanism that's used for generating any type of income, including bonds, stocks, real estate property, or even a business, among just a few examples. In this video, I'll be covering just more about stocks. If you have any other questions about anything else, leave any comments down below. But in terms of investing for stocks, investing usually means that you have a lot more smaller short-term wins, but you also suffer a lot fewer severe losses. If you're comfortable with the amount of risk that you have, trading with a portion of your money can actually be extremely enjoyable, and it could lead to a lot of profits. If reducing risk and exposure to high change are your main goals, then you probably want to stick to more long-term investing. First thing that you want to do right when you get into investing is that you want to assess your goals. The reason is because when you are just getting started, you want to keep track of where you've been, where you are now, and where you may be able to get to in the future. You also need to set a certain time frame for yourself. It's really important to know the when of your financial goals, because investing for short-term goals differs a lot from investing in the long-term goals. For me, at least, the rule of thumb that I have is that when I have a stock hit around 20% upside, I usually think about maybe to sell at that point. This means that the stock is usually broken out and I can maybe take even my entire portfolio out of that stock. Just because at this point you've done your research, you've done what you needed to do, and the stock has essentially already made you the money that you need. At the same time, for me, I have the same rule for selling. When the stock goes down around 7%, I usually sell my stock because of the fact that the purchase price is a lot more you need to recover than you need to lose, and it just gets compounded more and more over. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, but I just want to say that now. But to begin with, your investment strategy will actually depend a lot depending on how long you want your money invested. Understanding your amount of time frame that you have of your investments is actually a really good way to understand and minimize the amount of risk that can stay in the way of your goals. But to go back to what I was saying before about how when you lose money you have to recover actually more, if you can see by this chart right here, when the initial loss is 8%, you actually need to recover 8.7%. So not that much more, but it's still more than your initial amount. But it becomes compounded over and over when you lose more and more. When you start losing 25%, you need to recover 33. Lose 30, you need to recover 43%. And if you go all the way down, you see that when you lose up to 50% of your initial investment, you actually need to recover 100%. 100% of what you initially invested, just to get back up to the same point that you were at before. So that's why I have that 7% downside to where I need to take out, because if you start and think that your stock will just go up after a certain amount of time, and it may be true, after it goes down that 7%, 8%, you just start to lose so much more money if that stock does not recover. At the same time, you do need to understand your risk tolerance. Risk tolerance is basically the investor's ability to psychologically endure the potential of losing money on an investment. Just for me, personally speaking, I know when I just started investing that if I lost just like a few dollars here and there, even if you have a bigger portfolio, if you lost like 50 bucks, it sucks because you're essentially losing money on something that you don't understand why you're even losing it. But when you do your research and you do your due diligence, your risk tolerance can be very different by person by person. A person's risk tolerance can change throughout the person's life, and it actually can determine what investments that person is really likely to make. You should have a realistic understanding of your own ability and your own willingness to stomach large swings in the value of your investments. If you take on too much risk, this might actually lead you to panic sell and sell it all at the wrong time. Like for example, if a person's risk tolerance is too low, or it is just low, investments that they're being made are probably going to be a lot more conservative and will include a lot more low risk investments than high risk investments. And If the risk tolerance high, it just means the exact opposite. This means the person might try to go into a little more volatility. Volatility just means that they might go into a stock that swings a lot more. But that's really all I have for today. We'll be covering more about just what brokerages to go over, as well as how to actually start analyzing a few things for yourself in next week's video. I hope you guys had a great time, and that's all I have for today. Leave any questions that you have in the comments below. See you guys next time.